Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's morning meditation. We are in the last chapter of the book of Isaiah. And the Lord begins speaking to his people and says, "Heaven is my throne, and earth is my footstool. Where is the house that you will build me, and where is the place of my rest? For all those things my hand has made, and all those things exist, says the Lord. But on this one I will look, on him who is poor and of a contrite spirit, and who trembles at my word." God is dividing mankind into two categories in the beginning of these verses in Isaiah. Those who think that they can do something for God, and therefore in their doing can win God's favor, and those who realize that they have nothing to offer to God and must come to him on the basis of his mercy. He begins by saying, look, I created all of heaven, and the earth is just like my footstool. It's no big thing. If I can create all of the heaven, and the heavens aren't big enough to hold me, and the earth is just my footstool, what kind of house do you think you could build for me? What do you think you could give me? God's basically saying to people, I'm God. I have everything. I'm the author of everything. I need nothing. What could you possibly offer to me that I don't already possess, that I haven't already made? What can you offer to me in exchange for the debt that you owe me because of your sin? Remember, the wages of sin is death, and all man and women, all mankind has sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. So we're all in this same position of owing a debt that we cannot pay. And God is saying, so what could you possibly give me since I made everything? He says, no, this is the one I'm looking for. The man who realizes that he's poor and he then has a contrite spirit. This poverty that he's talking about doesn't mean that you have a little bit of money in the bank. He's saying that you understand that in God's economy, you're bankrupt. That when God says, here's the bill that you owe me for your sin, you have nothing with which to pay it. You have nothing to give God in exchange for your soul. And you realize and acknowledge that you do owe the debt. That you say, yes, Lord, I realize I have sinned, I have fallen short. He says, this man who understands he has nothing to give for his soul and realizes that he owes a debt and is a sinner, and who trembles at my word, understanding that now, because I'm poor and I have nothing to give, and because I understand that I do owe this debt because I have sinned, and doesn't blame anyone else, it's our sin and we're responsible for it, then we understand that because of that, God says that the wages of sin is death, that judgment is going to follow. Then we tremble at his word. He says, on this person I will look. I'll be attentive to. Because when that person is in that state, what's the very next thing that will happen? They will cry out to God for mercy. In Psalm 34, it says, the righteous cry out, and the Lord hears and delivers them out of all their troubles, that the Lord is near to those who have a broken heart and saves such as have a contrite spirit. He saves those with a contrite spirit. That when we say to him, Lord, I have nothing to give to you, I owe you a debt that I cannot pay, and I know that I'm hell-bound because of your righteous judgment. I ask that you would save me, not because I deserve it, but because you're good. And God will save that person. And he will save them, not just because he's kind and good, which he is, but because he also provided a way to have that sin debt paid for us. Because God himself, in the person of Jesus Christ, came and died in our place so that God can be both just and the justifier of our faith. That he can be the judge that says you are guilty and this is the penalty and that payment must be made. That's the law. That's judgment. That's justice. And on the other hand, he said, but my son paid that debt for you. And I will take his payment on your behalf because you have asked for it. And I will give you now in your account his righteousness so that now you can stand before me as my child, saved by grace, debt being paid, and you now being justified, just as if you had never sinned in my presence. That's who God will look upon. Don't try to build something to pay off your debt to God. Don't be so foolish to think that you can construct something or give something to God in exchange for your soul. But rather seek him, being poor in spirit, with a contrite heart, trembling at his word, and seeking forgiveness through Jesus Christ. If you've already made that commitment to Jesus, if you're already part of his family, continue to come to him with that humility, knowing that we're just saved by grace, and then present yourself as a living sacrifice to serve him every day, to get to know him better and understand the depth of his love. And if you haven't, don't wait any longer to come, because the judgment is going to fall. This is a limited time offer. You don't know if you're going to be called this very hour to stand before God. And if you haven't taken advantage during this lifetime of the offer of Jesus Christ's salvation by grace, then you won't have that opportunity after you pass through the portal of death. Make that choice today. Have a great day, guys. Bye.